Hi there, my name is Susanna Engziskin, and I am a librarian at the Oviatt Library at Cal State Northridge, and that's me there in the left-hand side of the page. That's who you're going to be listening to for a couple of minutes. And your professor has asked me to create some short videos for you that will help you do the research that you need to do for this class. I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to take an analytical research question and from that question, how to figure out which search terms you might use in our databases to find peer-reviewed sources that you're going to be using. From there on, I'm going to show you a couple of databases that you might actually use. And using these databases can give you access to the kinds of research that you don't necessarily have available through Google alone. I'm kind of taking as an example, if I were in your class, perhaps I might have an analytical research question as follows. How have gender roles influenced educational and career choices of Asian American women? What I want to do then is think of how I would take this particular question and search for it in databases. And what I might start doing is looking at what are the most important terms. And these would be kind of my starter keywords or search terms that I might use. So for example, I've identified gender roles, educational, career, Asian American, and women as important terminology. Notice that I did not choose the word influence or choices. These are very vague and tend not to be very good search terms when you use them in the databases. Identifying just these, though, is not enough. Databases search for just the words that you type into them. They don't necessarily search for similar terms. So it's up to you as the researcher to try to identify those. And when you do that, you'll have a better chance of finding more relevant articles for your topic. What I've done is I've taken some of those terms and brainstormed a little bit. So for gender roles, terms like male, female, men, and women, those are alternate terms that I might use in the databases. And the same thing in terms of educational. I've used education, school, college, graduate school. For career, terms like employment and jobs. And while wages and salary, those aren't necessarily synonyms of career, they're certainly related to issues of career. And in terms of Asian American, that's a very valid search term to use, but you may also consider searching for specific populations. Once you've got your keywords straight, you'll want to start searching in some databases. And there are a couple of different places where you can search through the library's homepage, which is library.csun.edu. We have a section here where you can search for articles. Unfortunately, it only searches for general databases and it doesn't search all of the different ones that we have available. So I'm going to suggest that you actually start where it says Find Articles by Subject on the left-hand side of the page. And you can click it, and what you'll see is that you can search the databases by any particular subject area. I'm going to show you two databases today. If you don't find what you need in those, by all means, try a different database. For example, if you're searching on a topic having to do with the field of education, you might want to consider clicking on the education databases. You will notice that we have a subject area here for Asian American Studies. So I'm going to click there. And then because Asian American Studies is such a multidisciplinary field, we have databases that are very general in nature, from something like Academic Search Elite to things that are a little more specific, like Ethnic News Watch or Gender Watch. We're going to first look at a database called Project Muse, and I'm going to click into the database itself. Once you're in this database, it's really important that you search it correctly. You'll notice that there's a search box right up at the top of the page. Change the search on the right-hand side. There's a drop-down box that says Books and Journals. You're better off searching just the journals at this point. I can type in Asian American, and I'm going to click on search just to see what comes up. You'll notice that more than 13,000 results came up when I just typed in Asian American, which is actually a really good start. What I want to do is try to narrow that down, however, so I can go back to the search bar, type in Asian American, and this time I'm going to add another search term. So when you're putting your search terms together, it's really important that regardless of the database that you're in, the word "and" goes between your search terms if you're trying to narrow it down. So I have Asian American and gender. I'm going to again make sure the drop down is on journals and click on search. And this is really good. I've now narrowed it down to 6,000. So I have about half the results that I used to. So this means that all of these articles have both of those search terms in it. But that's still not enough necessarily. So what I want to do is go back up to my search bar and I'm going to type in Asian American and gender and education. And again, I'm going to switch it back to journals. Click on search, and it's gone down to 3,800 results. You can keep on adding search terms. The more search terms you add, the fewer and fewer results that you get, and the more specific they should become. So you scroll through, you can start looking through articles. You'll notice they're talking about experiences of Korean female doctoral students, generational differences in educational attainment among Asian Americans. If you see something that looks interesting in this database, you can click on it and you'll notice that here's the article. It's available as an HTML document. If you want to see it as a PDF document, you would access it in PDF. You would open it up and you'll see it as a PDF document exactly how it looked in the journal that it came from itself. So this particular one, you can scroll through, you can decide if you want to use it. If you decide that you want to use it, you have options here to print it or save it for yourself. You can save it on your USB drive or your computer if you're at home. We're going to look at one more database so you get a better idea of all of the resources that are out there. We're going to start back on the library's homepage and click again where it says Find Articles by Subject. And once again, we're going to scroll down to Asian American Studies and look at those databases. We're going to be looking at JSTOR. So we're going to go down to JSTOR and click on that link. We have separate search boxes and you'll put your different concepts in different boxes. You cannot search this like you would Google. You cannot type all of your search terms in one box. You also shouldn't try to type in a question like you would in Google. So each box represents a concept. So my first box might represent my larger topic, which would be Asian American. And then I can tab through to the next box, but do notice that the boxes are put together with the word "and," like we did in Project Muse. And in this case, I'm going to type in gender again. And I think that that's not enough to really focus my search. So I'm going to click Add a Field, and that will allow me to add yet another box. And this time, instead of education, I'm interested in finding articles about career or work. And if you recall back to the beginning of this tutorial, we thought about different terminology that might represent the term career, like work and employment. So I'm going to actually use the term employment. I think that might represent what I'm looking for. And again, I click on search and I get a wide variety of articles once again. So I can look through, I can see if anything looks like it might be interesting to me. So for example, we've got Asian Americans, whether they face a glass ceiling in higher education. Looking up at number 2, the article is about Beyond Asian American, examining conditions and mechanisms of earnings inequality for Filipina and Asian Indian women. So that looks like it might be interesting. So I would click on it. And for many of the articles in JSTOR and other databases, they will provide an abstract. The abstract is basically a summary of the article. The abstract should basically tell you whether or not the article will be relevant for you and whether you want to read the entire thing. In this case, in JSTOR, you don't see the article right away here. Most of the articles are available as PDF documents. So if you go up to the right of the screen here, you'll see where it says View PDF, and you can click on it and it will open it up. You just have to accept their conditions and proceed, and it will open up a new window with the article in it. And there you go. The article is here. And again, it's a PDF, so depending on how your reader works, you can print it out or save it and email it to yourself that way.